This week in reading, our essential question that we're going to be discussing is, what do people use to do their jobs? Look at this picture in front of us. What job do you think this person has? It looks like he's baking bread, doesn't it? So he might be a baker or he might be a chef. Probably a baker. Now look at some of the stuff he uses to do his job. His uniform, what does he have on? He has on a chef's hat, and that keeps his hair up and protects the food from his hair. He has on a chef's coat. That's kind of like a really big apron, but they usually wear it in the form of a coat, and that protects all of their clothing underneath from any splashes from the food or anything. What are these things that's on his hands, do you think? They look kind of big and poofy. What are those? Those are oven mitts. He just took this bread out of the oven, and that pan that the bread is on is really, really hot. So he uses these thick oven mitts to protect his hands from the heat. Then you see behind him, you see some of the equipment he uses. You see this looks like an oven here. Over here he has a stove with pots and pans on it. So this is some of the things he uses for his job. Let's watch a video now about our essential question.
Time for work. What do people use to do their jobs? Workers need different tools to do their jobs. Let's see what these workers use. The baker uses his hands and a rolling pin to shape the dough. The doctor uses a stethoscope to listen to the girl's heartbeat. This artist uses a paintbrush to paint sculptures. The mechanic uses a tool to help him remove a tire. People use tools every day to do their jobs.
So we've talked about tools before. Do you remember? Tools are things that help us to work or to learn. And in this case, to do their job, it was different tools that they used to do their job to help them work. Let's look at these. What do you see in this picture?
Bakers use spoons and a whisk to stir ingredients together.
So some of the tools bakers use are spoons and a whisk. The bowls are even tools because the bowls hold the ingredients. Without those, they wouldn't have anything to hold the ingredients together, and it would just make a big old mess. What do you think this job is? Look at what this is. What type of person would use this?
Painters use brushes to mix paint. Painters mix paint on a tray called a palette.
So this is the tool that an artist or a painter would use to do their job. They mix the paints on this tool called a palette, and then they can hold it in their hand and just dab their brush on it. Now, we're not talking about people who paint buildings or houses or cars. This is more for people who paint pictures. So they paint small things like pictures, not houses. If you're painting a house, you wouldn't mix it on a small palette. You'd use something else. What is this tool?
Workers use a screwdriver to tighten and loosen screws.
So all kinds of workers might use that. People who build furniture might use it. People who build houses might use it. My husband has been building onto our house, and he's been using a screwdriver for a couple of things he needed to put some screws in. So maybe automobile mechanics would use it because those screws they have to take out to work on your car. All kinds of workers use screwdrivers.
Workers use a tape measure to measure an object's height and length.
So a tape measure is another tool that people might use for their job. Now we're going to listen to a poem that I'm going to read to you about firefighters. And this talks about some of the things that firefighters use to do their job. Put your listening ears on and see if you can find some of the things they are using. Firefighters. Up onto the loud, loud truck the firefighters climb. They're in an awful hurry. They move in quick, quick time. They're going to put out a fire. Help is on the way. They'll get there with the water hose and spray, spray, spray. So what are some tools that they are using to do their job? They're using a water hose, right? What else do they use? This tool helps them to get to the fire. Oh, the truck. The truck could be considered a tool too because it helps them to get to the fire to do their job faster. This is the end of our introduction for reading today. Thank you for listening, boys and girls. Have a great day.